Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Meat here. Today we're doing the second Bloodrager build. This is the other quote-unquote half of the build. This is literally because we needed to do Abyssal Bloodline for one build because it was morale bonus to strength. That's the previous video you saw, and this one is now a different subclass of Bloodrager called the Urban Bloodrager because they get a morale bonus to their strength or con or dex, their choice, as they rage. Again, kind of an interesting way of doing things. Not sure that I'm a fan of just it. I'll show you what it has to offer, and I'll show you why it's subpar in my opinion. Of course, we are using mods to play this version of the character because, again, the only way to get a Bloodrager is to get Call of the Wild. We're using the Eldritch Arcana updated mod as well. Bag of tricks to power level our character up, so let's actually get into it, shall we? So this character's already finished, again, at level 20. I'll show you the leveling process. It's to the best of my ability. There is some tricks with him. For instance, we went a Dragon Disciple split, so a 16-4 split, to get him some extra strength. So here's our character. He is a half-orc, lawful good, 16 Urban Bloodrager, 4 Dragon Disciple, but not in that order. We did 5 levels of Bloodrager. Basically, once he got the ability to unlock Dragon Disciple, we did so for 4 levels, and then we went right back to Bloodrager. So it should be 5 levels of Urban Bloodrager, 4 levels then of Dragon Disciple, followed by the rest of the levels in Urban Bloodrager. And the reason for this was because while we're actually going to lose out on some strength, and it's because of this ability here, the controlled Blood Rage, we get +4 to con, dex, or strength, eventually gets to +6 here, and then once we get to unlock Mighty Blood Rage, which we never did, it would go up to +8, but those are morale bonuses. Then, because we took away those levels, we went from +8 to +6, again because this one here, but we got 4 extra strength points for getting a 4-level dip in Dragon Disciple. It also meant we didn't finish as a solid caster level 20, we're a caster level 19, so there is that. But it gave us some other fiddly bits that we were a fan of, and it still allowed us full progression for this stuff down here. So nothing of that changed. This build, much like the other build, the Tiefling build, has the Cornigan Smash our defenses idea. There's a trick or two that we could employ to like get another feat back, for example. We could get either Blind Fight, which is what we do have, or get Power Attack, but we actually grab Power Attack as an actual feat at level 1. Because we're half-orc, we only get 1 feat, so we took Spell Vulnerability, Abjuration, grab Power Attack, and Weapon Focus Claw. Now you may wonder why Claw. Well, first let me explain 2 reasons for this. One is at level 1, because of our Draconic Bloodline, we could either pick a familiar, like all Bloodragers can, or pick the level 1 trait, which in this case happens to be Claws. The Claws only come out when we rage. They get upgraded over time. So they start off at 1d6 for us, because we're full-size half-orc, I guess. And we get 2 attacks in literally combat, or at level 1, because it's Claw Attack, the full attack bonus, which isn't amazing, but it's still a solid upgrade. Notice that they become Magic Claws at level, was it 4? Yeah, level 4 and level 8. The damage increases at level 12, which we do get. We'll get fire damage added to them as well. The type of dragon that we're associated with, we get the elemental damage added to the claw attacks. So it's something, and it's not amazing damage, I'll grant you. And again, you may be like, why Weapon Focus Claw? That seems silly, because again, once the Blood Rage wears off, we won't have claws. You can see right now he's unarmed striking. So that would be a bad idea, you would say. Sure enough, it is, and I wanted to show you that there's options. Notice that we actually will get Dragon Form, the ability to turn into Dragonkind 2 while Blood Raging. Again, cool, but who cares? I mean, yeah, it's an amazing upgrade, and sure, you'll take it, but again, why do you give a shit compared to, say, like a 2-handed weapon? Well, the Dragon Form gets multiple attacks. Not only does it get a bite, but it gets 2 claw attacks, and yes, that Weapon Focus Claw works here as well. We also get a couple of wing slaps and like a tail smack as well. So you get like 5 or 6 attacks in a combat round thanks to Dragon Form. So again, another reason to want to go Weapon Focus Claw. Because of Weapon Focus Claw, you'll see that we get some free spells called Adopted Magic up here. And I decided to take spells that would buff my ability to either attack with those claws or attack in general with natural weapons. So you'll see that I get like a Telekinetic Strikes ability, a spell that is going to buff all our natural attacks. That also works in Dragon Form. You'll notice that we even got an extra bite. We'll even get a free bite attack thanks to the wonderful Dragon Bite that we get from being 4 levels of Dragon Disciple. So again, we have a variety of attacks in a combat round that are going to be natural attacks. It's not going to be amazing. Honestly, you're better off with a weapon, so I'll show you some weapon choices for him. And if that's more your cup of tea, ignore the claws, grab a familiar. I suggest the Viper familiar, just like we took for her. And then go from there to make sure that your weapon focus was in a weapon of your choice. In my instance, I'd either take a Great Axe with him or a Falchion. As a Half-Orc, he has training in both of those just for being a Half-Orc. As you can see here, doesn't matter because again he had martial weapon proficiency, but notice again he has training in Orc Weapons as well. Those are weird though, and I wouldn't do that because it kind of screws some stuff up in my opinion. And there's not a lot of Orc Weapons, let's just actually look at those right now, that are not particularly appealing. So let's go for items and equipment. We want to get rid of everything that doesn't say weapon. And we are going to say Orc. Oops, spell. So notice that we'll have, you know, like your Orc Double Axes is what they usually refer to as the Orc Weapons. It's not the only Orc Weapons in the game. But again, it's one of those where it's the most common, I'd say. Matter of fact, I think it is the only Orc weapon in the game. The other ones that you're seeing are going to be enemies of the orcs or something of that kind, like damage against orcs. So that's what you're seeing here. So really it would be an Orc Double Axe. Why a Double Axe? A Double Axe allows you to swing and swing again. Let's see if I can just gift myself one of these, show you what that looks like. Let's just take a, notice how we got two of them, so you want to take both. There is a reason for two. Let's go for price and descending. So here's Orc Double Axe 1. Notice how you get two attacks. Got attacks on that side, it's one attack on this side, but notice that this is now considered a penalty because you're two weapon wielding. Okay, because one weapon in each hand as far as the game is concerned, hence the -8. That's not something we give a shit about. Okay, notice, get rid of that, and then the other one, notice how there's a version that's only one, and I have no idea what the hell that's about. It seems very strange that they give us two. That's why when you look up the Orc Double Axe, you'll see two of them in the build. Or in the gift, so one can be just one weapon, one can be one weapon in each hand. I don't know what the hell that's about. It's very stupid. So I would stay away from the Orc Double Axes, in my opinion. Yeah, there's some good ones in the game, but the Falchions and the Great Axes you have access to as well, and they're awesome. Long swords and all that other martial and simple weapons besides, again, they're awesome. You'll have fun, is my point. So if you're not doing claws, just pick a weapon. You know, as long as it's martial weapons on down, you're probably fine. For this character, though, we are, like I said, starting off with power attack and a weapon focus. We'll just say it that way. Notice that we have emotion drawback of envy, combat trait berserker of the society, magic trait dangerously curious, and unlike the other character, in this case we took a regional trait, wanderlust. Now, if you're picking a weapon other than claws, I do recommend that you try to find one that falls under the family heirloom category. So find one in family heirloom, pick the weapon of your choice, and make sure that's the one you have weapon focus in. Longsword, again, being a fine example. Because they'll give you a magic longsword, and then any longsword you wield has a solid +1 to its swing, because you've been training with longswords all your life, for instance. There's a few other choices. Again, Great Axes was in there as well. You could have gone Scimitar, could have been interesting. There's a variety of things you could have done. But, again, that's on you. I went claws for an obvious theme here, and it turns out I wasn't a fan. The reason I'm not a fan, by the way, is because while I'm getting multiple attacks in dragon form, it's way late in the build, for one. The other is I'm not getting as much damage per hit, because again, if you're one-handed wielding like an unarmed strike, a claw attack, a bite attack, or a tail slap, wing slap, you literally are just getting your power attack bonus, which is -5 plus 10 to your damage. Same with your strength bonus. You're getting a 15 to your swing and a 15 to your damage, because it's just a one-handed quote-unquote attack. I say quote-unquote because a bite is not a hand. Neither is a wing slap or a tail slap. So it's just one weapon, though. It's not you're wielding two hands to get that extra oomph behind it. So that's why, again, Great Axes, Bardiches, Falchions, whatever that you can equip are solid choices for this character. And again, I show you some Falchions for him as well. At level 3, notice that we're picking up Favored Prestige Class Dragon Disciple. Now, you may think this is a waste since we're only going 4 levels in. And sure, only one hit point or one skill point at each of those levels is what that's giving us. But it's giving us actually a little bit more. At level 1 of Dragon Disciple now, which again should be right around level 6, I believe, you're picking up a favored prestige class feat that basically gives you a +2 to a skill, a laundry list of those skills, no less. I went perception for obvious reasons, but +2 to persuasion could have been a thing as well. And they do stack, so you could have gotten +2. It goes all the way up to a +4 if you invest enough skill points in it. And if I got, say, skill focus in persuasion, which I did not do, but I could have, you could have even more persuasion. So if you wanted to be the intimidating prowess kind of guy, that's your thing. That's actually something that's missing from his build, this intimidating prowess. And it's one of those where it wasn't available here. Toughness was, power attack was, blind fight was, and of those 3, again, I could have pushed power attack back a little bit because it unlocks in Dragon Disciple as a bloodline feat. So again, we grabbed blind fight at that instance. So that would have been right around level 7, 8, or 9, somewhere in there. But I could have done power attack at that point, and then again, I could have moved blind fight back to here and not got toughness. Again, that's on you. I don't mind the toughness for him. You'll notice when he rages, he does not get temp HP like she does. So she's going to get like 80 extra goddamn HP points to just toy around with, where he's going to get nothing. So it's kind of a weird build. That's why I say the Urban Bloodrager kind of let me down a little bit. They don't even get like will bonus saves. They just get a +4, 6, or 8 to their con, dex, or strength, your choice. And that's it. But there's no penalties to your armor class. You can still use your charisma, dex, and intelligence-based skills while raging. So I suppose that's something. To me, a controlled Bloodrager might have more fun going for a dex-based build. I'm not going to make that for you unless someone asks. But I could see weapon finessing as a controlled Bloodrager on a dex-based build, say for like a elf, for example, or hell, I could have. You can make a controlled Bloodrager, then be kind of trippy to make a controlled Bloodrager that's a halfling, and literally just go all in on the dex and charisma, and just have some serious fun that way. If I did that kind of controlled Bloodrager, you better believe I'd probably do, since I wouldn't do a Dragon Disciple dip, obviously, I would probably make a Scaled Fist Monk dip, so that you could have 1 level of Scaled Fist Monk, get that charisma bonus to your armor, go all in on just like mailing the shit out of guys. And again, as you can see, I have spells that can buff my natural abilities, which include unarmed strikes. So you can seriously have some fun with that, in my opinion. But that's on you. Notice that if you did that, you wouldn't be a purist, and therefore you wouldn't get Bloodrager level 20. So your dexterity would cap out at +6, not +8. But that's still a morale bonus. That's a pretty good goddamn dexterity bonus. And again, you're going to give yourself the best dexterity bonus for enhancement, which is +8. Now already you're at like a +14 now to your dexterity. So you can see the appeal. But for this character, after favorite prestige class, Dragon Disciple, you notice we got Dazzling Display. Notice that these guys here we'll talk about later, but they actually show up much later. Why? Because at level 6, we're not picking a Bloodrager feat or level. We're going to go 4 levels of Dragon Disciple. And again, that gives us stuff like their favorite prestige class, the perception bonus, our blind fight feat, our natural armor increases, strength increases twice. And again, we still get our progression for stuff like this down here. So at level, let's see, the 6, 7, 8, and 9, you would have unlocked your breath weapon. Now the downside of this is all these ability upgrades that you're seeing here, the claws, the resistances to fire, the extra armor, which is pretty significant by the way, the fire spewing ability here, your breath weapon, your dragon wings, your ability to turn into dragon form, all these things are tied to your blood rage ability. You have to rage to get the claws. You have to rage to get the fire resistance and the extra armor. You have to rage for you to specifically shoot out fire. So that's kind of wasteful. I mean, if you really think of it in that regard, it really is. It's nice. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's some seriously fucking good damage. But it's one of those where I have to waste a round of raging just to go, boom, fire attack. What the hell, man? So I suppose it's nice, but it's not that nice in my opinion. I do like, though, the dragon form. When you're raging, you turn it to the dragon of choice. In our case, we went gold dragon, so you can see the fun you can have here. And certainly when you're raging, you get extra armor here and here, which is kind of nice for a meleeer. So kind of cool. And you, of course, they get spells that can compensate when you're not raging or you run out of rage, for instance. Notice at the highest level, you become immune to paralysis, sleep, and fire damage, and they even give you blind sense, and that's always on. So you don't have to rage to get those abilities, which is, again, something, and we don't lose out on that. We actually get that because of our draconic background in our Dragon Disciple split. What we are missing out on are these two abilities here, this free bloodline feat, and the extra adopted magic. We got 4 of the 5. Now on that, one of the reasons I like the Urban Bloodrager is the ability to literally pick free spells up to 5 times. Those come from either the Bard list or the Magus list, your choice. It can only be spells that you can cast, which means if the earliest level here, you can only cast like level 1 and 2 spells. So, pick something level 1 or 2. You see I grabbed Blade Tutor. I don't know whose spell list that came from, and I don't care. This is an amazing level 1 spell. This is why he doesn't have Furious Focus, but she does. She takes that power attack penalty. Remember, hers is -6, and that's because her BAB is 20, his is 19. She takes that -6 penalty and neuters it completely for the very first swing, thanks to Furious Focus. Now for me, on the other hand, I can neuter my -5 power attack partially by getting Blade Tutor. See the +4? So -5 +4, but that's for every attack now. So unlike her, who's getting a really nice first swing and every other swing after that's at a -6, -6, and a -6, he doesn't have that problem. He's at a -1, but for every attack. So again, pretty solid way of buffing your character, and I appreciate that one. So another reason to like the Urban Bloodrager. Notice, of course, like the Urban Bloodrager that he is, unlike her, he has to getting Uncanny Dodge and improved Uncanny Dodge, so he can't be flanked and he can't be flat-footed anymore. Another reason that this would lend itself to being a dex-based build, in my opinion. You can have a really fun dex-based build with the Urban Bloodrager. Just saying, some serious fucking cool shit you get to do there. But again, that's on you. Plenty of choices to toy around with. Notice, unlike her, he gets restrained magic. This is allowing him to protect his allies, whereas her version was protecting her from her ally spells and from her own spells if she did something stupid. So his protects the team. Hers protects her. So she's selfish as a Steelblood. But the restrained magic here, again, just gives your teammates a +2 bonus to their saving throws against your magic. So in case they get within the range, there's a chance that they have a chance to get the hell out of it. So it's kind of cool. But notice that after we get our Dazzling Display, Cornigan Smash, Shattered Defenses, Spell Focus Evocation, Steadfast Personality, Arcane Strike, Raging Brutality, that's new, and so is Multi-Attack. So again, why these ones instead of, again, I had Arcane Strike, why not get Blooded Arcane Strike? Because I was trying something, quite frankly, and it turns out that I was wrong. I'd rather get Blooded Arcane Strike. However, see how toughness is down here? And I have blind fight, which you don't see, but that's actually showed up in our Dragon Disciple leveling process. And again, it falls somewhere between here and here, I believe. The reason that that's important is because if I get rid of blind fight and move it down to here, and I take, say, a power attack later for free, like again where I took blind fight down here in the Dragon Disciple levels, then I could have freed up an extra feat early levels, which means I could have gotten, say, Arcane Strike at, say, like level 1 or something, or Dazzling Display, or whatever. Point is, I could have moved stuff around, and that would have given me a free feat to play with. That means I could have had the Blooded Arcane Strike, and I think I would do so. The reason for that is some of the cool shit that we do are basically swift actions. And swift actions shut off your Arcane Strike, and I don't want to lose out on that sweet damage, even if it is only +4. Why do I say +4? Because it's not +5 for him, because he's a caster level 19, not 20. To get to it +5, you have to be 20. So again, he's missing out, but it's still okay. And again, +4 is still better than +0. So Arcane Strike is good. I just don't want it to shut off. And again, as long as I'm Blood Raging, I should have the access to that. That's why I should grab the Blooded Arcane Strike. From there, Multi-Attack, again, seems like a weird choice. The reason for this, honestly, is because of this. Turning into the dragon form, you get multiple natural weapon attacks. And a couple of them, if not many of them, will fall under the category of being secondary attacks, which means a -5 to their swing. And fuck that shit. I don't want to have that -5 penalty. I just went out of my way to get Bladed Tutor so I don't have to worry about this -5 penalty over here. So what do? Well, if I have multi-attack, which is always on, and I change into that form, then most of those secondary attacks, instead of being -5 to the swing, it'll still say -5, but you'll see +3 multi-attack in the same combat log. So again, it'll give me my ability to swing back with only a -2 penalty. And I'm kind of cool with that. I get a lot of attacks with this build compared to hers. It's not the best idea ever, but I can seriously have some fun with it because, I mean, let's face it, who wouldn't want to Blood Rage as a fucking gold dragon? It's kind of cool. And then again, he gets some other fiddly bits besides. But you notice we still have our Blood Piercing, our Blood Havoc, our Blood Intensity, and another one over here that we missed out on, which is a damn shame. As far as the 4 free spells out of 5 that we picked up, again, Blade Tutor was one, Telekinetic Strikes was another, Forceful Strike was a different one, and then we got the Savage Maw. This one was probably a mistake. It's not that it was a bad idea, because you do get an extra bite. Even in human form, when I rage, I'll get 2 claw attacks, and I'll get a bite called Dragon Bite because of my Dragon Disciple dip. But if I have this spell cast on me as well, I'll get a 4th attack. I will actually get a bite attack. So you'll see Claw, Claw, Dragon, Bite, Bite in your attack chain. It's kind of cool. It sucks, though, in that you're only getting 4 attacks. Well, you should have had 4 attacks. So literally by going Clawful, you're kind of screwing yourself, quite frankly. Because you're only getting 2 attacks. And yes, early levels, that's nice. But by the time you get to the point where you could have had 3, and you're still doing Claw, Claw, and that's it, you kind of feel kind of screwed. Well, chances are by that time you have that Dragon Bite. Okay, so now you're back up to 3 again. So again, you're still doing well. But again, once you finally unlock the ability to do a 4th attack, and you're not getting it, you know you're going to feel cheated. So it's another reason why I'm not a big fan of this particular build. It's fun. It can be fun on a team. He has more than enough skills to play around with. I mean, plenty of Persuasion, Athletics, Knowledge, Arcana, Perception, use Magic Device, enough mobility to like fight defensively, but that's about it. And again, that's all he really needs. But it wasn't that appealing of a build. As far as spells are concerned, Burning Hand, Snowball, Magic Missile, the typical. Notice that he has Shield where she got rid of her Shield spell. She also had Corrosive Touch, he does not. He has Enlarged Person, she does not because she didn't need it. So I have the ability to make myself bigger, stronger, all that fun jazz. The spell, though, that's definitely missing from his repertoire is the Corrosive Touch. That's about the only thing here that's missing compared to hers. Notice heaping Blood Armor. While she had it, I told you specifically you should spec out of that shit. Blood Armor is a solid choice for him because the type of armor he's using is not going to be necessarily +5. There's some good armor that's +5 for him. Sure, you could switch out, but the armor I gave him that I'll show you here in a bit is only +2, so this is a solid upgrade for him if he's fighting with that armor on. He's still got his Scorching Ray. He's got that Savage Maw that I said may or may not be a nice choice. Notice he has this Telekinetic Strikes. Remember, this works for not only your punches, but for any of your natural weapon attacks. So that means your Claw attack, your Dragon Bite, your Bite attack, your Tail Slap, your Wing Slap, all that shit gets buffed. It's only 1d4 of damage, but it's force damage, so it's not heavily resisted in this game. So if you're fighting someone that's really tough, and all you need to do is that tiniest little bit of damage to kill a motherfucker, but he's like resisting all your physical damage, well, now we're doing force damage. He's not resisting that shit. So again, helpful, not amazing, but it is, a little gravy on top. Same with Vine Strike, by the way. This is another spell that they had access to. An ability that he can cast it on himself, and he can buff a variety of natural weapons, including Unarmed Strike. His choice, though. You have to cast the spell and tell him what you're buffing. So are you buffing your Bite attack? Are you buffing your Unarmed Strikes? Are you buffing your Claws? Well, I picked Claws for obvious reasons. So my Claw attacks get another 1d6 of damage and the ability to entangle targets, potentially. So there's a lot of fun you can have here. So you see that I'm leaning heavy into the natural weapon attacks. Same with the reason for why I grabbed Bone Fist. Not only is it +1 to my natural armor, which me and my teammates will appreciate, but all my natural weapons, including my Unarmed Strikes, or my Claws, or my Bite, or my Tail Slap, or my Wing, gets a +2 to damage. And again, that's not amazing, but it's pushing me in that same direction of better, more for damage. And again, he needs all the help he can get since he's not 2-weapon fighting. Glitter Dust was a kind of a mulligan pick. Nothing else to say about this other than with Blind Fight and Blind Sense, he doesn't necessarily need this, but it's always nice to blind an opponent, especially in mass. So, hell yeah, I'll take that spell. Over here, notice that we did pick up Rage. We also picked up another spell that she didn't have called Resonant Skin. This will give me DR5 against physical attacks except for piercing, and the ability to potentially have the bad guy's weapons stick to me, which means I'm disarming them for free. So it's pretty fucking cool. So a nice way to basically just screw over the bad guys. But like I said, it's not that great of a spell. I just do appreciate the DR5. And again, we'll have better versions of damage reduction than this, and they don't stack, but there's layers of protection. That's what we're shooting for here. Notice that we have Fly for free, and again, while you're going to get Wings when you rage anyway, there's too many times when you run out of rage. This will be a nice spell for you to cast on yourself for that reason. We picked Rage on purpose, even though she got hers for free. We picked it on purpose. Why? Because we really did want to have this ability just in case. So again, back pocket last spell that you cast will be level 3 when you run out of rage and you run out of spells and all you got is one level 3 spell left. You cast rage on yourself, just to give yourself that bit of a bonus again. And again, it will behave like it says right here. So morale bonus to strength and con, morale bonus to will saves, penalty to armor class, and all that jazz. And of course, he can't cast spells, but that's why you save it until he runs out of spells. You should only have one spell left when you cast this. Level 4. Notice we went a lot, by the way, for evocation. So you notice we got lightning bolt and fireball. Level 4, we got controlled fireball now in evocation, fire shield, wall of fire. We went heavy into evocation for obvious reasons. Thank you, Blood Havoc. And now that you're immune to fire at level 20, you can actually stand in your own wall of fire and let the bad guy AI idiots run into that shit. We have fear. We picked up on purpose. In fact, I think we got that one for free. But the point is that's a nice spell for us because, again, it sets up the shaking condition for our shatter defenses. And, of course, we got Forceful Strike. Again, this is one of our last spell picks that we got for free. It's a decent spell, 10d4 of damage, of force damage. It discharges on your weapon attack. So you basically cast a spell and go over it, and you got a minute before it discharges on the next hit, basically. But it's force damage again, and it's not heavily resisted. We can, because it's evocation, get extra damage thanks to Blood Havoc for this. But we can also get extra damage thanks to blood intensity. So you can intensify this to, in our case, 19 d4. Why? Because we're only 19th level caster. So we're kind of capped. But 19 d4 plus 19 damage of force damage on a strike. That's pretty impressive. Stone Skin, again, is another one of those DR protection spells. So DR 10 Adamantine. So again, comparing it with Resinous Skin. While Resinous Skin is awesome with DR 5/piercing. If it's an adamantine weapon, then we have no protection thanks to Stone Skin. But Resinous Skin might kick in if it's not a piercing weapon. So if it's an adamantine slashing or an adamantine bludgeoning weapon, we still have DR 5. So again, layers. Remember, layers of protection. And we even have a ring that gives us DR 2/dash. So even if they have an adamantine and a piercing weapon, we will still have at least a 2 taken off of all physical damage. And that's not amazing, but it's something that she didn't have. So again, kind of useful. We kind of appreciate it. As far as the character himself is concerned for gear, he has the War Painted Skull of Duthica. He's got himself a Strigoi Embrace. This is why his charisma is better than her charisma, because he's got a +8 enhancement from his cloak. Again, all this gear can be swapped out for hers and vice versa, so if you liked her gear better, feel free to pass it on to him. But this is just a different way of showing that you don't have to have the bestest of bestest gear to still be a viable character. This is solid gear. And he gets an energy drain spell once a day. That's the Big Brother version of Enervation. So instead of sucking 1 to 4 temporary levels from a target, he'll do 2d4. So 2 to 8. So it's kind of like double tapping all at once. Kind of cool. And then that's only once a day. He has the Ring of Circumstances just like her. And just like her, he'll buff himself for armor, charisma, constitution, and strength. Because those are the main 3 stats he gives a rat's ass about. Notice his ring here is the ring that she probably should have had, but she wanted that extra dexterity. So she got the Dragonfly ring. He has the Great Ring of Ultimate Protection. +5 to all his saves. Normally that comes from the cloak. In this case, he got it from the ring, so that's why I could grab this cloak. Notice he gets +5 deflection bonus. She didn't need that, because remember, she has the ability to consume a spell and give herself deflection temporarily. So she could actually exceed this +5 all the way up to +6. But again, this ring also gives me DR 2/dash and spell resistance 24. Again, that's just free. So things are less likely to hit. When they do, they're less likely to do full damage. Just all kinds of good that comes from this ring. So that's why it's the greater ring of ultimate protection, obviously. Notice, because when he rages and his rage crashes, he will get tired. He does not have, just to show it to you, the tireless rage ability. That's the thing he missed out on as long with his mighty blood rage. So this means that he will not ever get rid of the fatigue effect. Whenever the fight's over or he just shuts off his rage, he will crash. He'll get a fatigue effect for 1 minute. It's a -2 to his strength and dexterity. But it's more than that. It will also prevent him from raging again. It will prevent him from charging. It will prevent him from doing a variety of things that your build is kind of necessary for. And there's only 2 pieces of gear in the game, weirdly, that give you immunity to fatigue or exhaustion. This is one of them. The other is a necklace. So since we weren't really using our bracer slot anyway, I said, fuck it, let's grab this thing. And yes, this is supposed to be for a bomber, but the real catch here is at level 20, you're now immune to fatigue and exhaustion. Now, of course, that's a long way to wait, but it's just something you have to deal with. The other thing it could have been would have been a necklace, and the necklace is called, let me make sure I get this right, it's not Maya's Charm, it's called the Heart of Ira. There it is. Heart of Ira is that necklace that you can pick up where it allows you to activate it and you do a massive aura around you that does 2d6 of damage to anybody, including your enemies and allies. But the real reason you want that necklace is it makes you, once you put it on, you're immune to fatigue and exhaustion effects. So again, until I get this necklace, I'll be using that necklace. Once I get the Gears Rule, which I think we have to piece back together, or find it somewhere, we'll give it to him, and then I won't need the necklace once I get to level 20. And I can swap this guy back in. Gyrona's Amulet, again, that's the reason that he gets Mirror Image on the start of every fight, much like we saw with her. Plus 5 armor class, 3 different ways. Solid choice. For armor, notice that we have armor that's only plus 2. Remember our blood armor spell? This is why we keep the blood armor spell, because eventually I can get this up to plus 5. Short term, but again, that could be 19 minutes, so that's not bad. And that's appreciative. I mean, it's one of those where instead of an 8 armor that you're seeing here, add 3 mortar, that he could be at an armor class of 11. And while that does not remotely equal the armor of 14 that she has, he can't wear full plate, remember? So this is not bad. This is a nice substitution. Also gives him extra con, which he desperately needed. And it gives him the aspect of the wolf spell once a day, which I don't really care about it, but again, we'll use it just to show you what it does. The reason we needed the extra con was because the belt, which normally gives a strength, dex, and con, in this case I took something different called Chlorgas Shackle Fury. It's a plus 6 to strength. It's not amazing, but 6 is better than 4. And it's a bonus to intimidation checks, which again he definitely appreciates. But it also allows him to rage as a barbarian for 8 rounds a day. Now, the reason that this is important is there's a couple tricks that we can do here. One, I need to show you, instead of it being a plus 2 to like his typical rage, kind of like her rage, right? So instead of that plus 2 to melee attacks, melee damage, thrown weapon damage, will saves, etc. and so forth, he gets a plus 3. Why? Because he has this here. If he was all the way back to here or in between, somewhere in there, it would still be at the plus 2. She gets all the way up to the plus 4 because she has this one. So when she activates something like that Shackle Fury thing where she gets the Barbarian Rage, she gets a plus 4 bonus, which is pretty fucking awesome. But now here's the trick. For her, because her Blood Rage is the equivalent of a Barbarian Rage, she can't have both on at the same time. I can. I'll show you that here in a minute. And while this plus 6 for strength is nice, know that he actually has the Star Soldier's Gauntlets too. That's a plus 8 to strength. That's even better. Yes, they don't stack, but again, an 8 is better than a 6. And he has free spell now at will. So if he ever needs to laser pew 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 somebody with a Scorching Ray, he has that on tap. Which again, he's not a ranged attacker per se, but he has a high enough BAV and it's a touch attack, so it's a pretty good chance that it'll land. Notice that he also has Manticore Skin Boots, much like her, so that's extra armor and extra ground speed. As far as weapons are concerned, not counting the claws, like I said, we have the Falchiones. The reason the Falchiones are interesting is because while they have the highest crit range and only a ×2 modifier, unlike her Falcata, which had a worse crit range but a ×3 modifier, he has to wield this two-handed. The Falcata can be one-handed or two-handed, your choice. But also we have the Furious Weapon, so again it kind of makes sense when he's raging and that plus 2 jumps up to a plus 4. And notice for this Falcata, it's just a generic Keen Falchion plus 5. But that's the best crit range you're ever going to see in this game, because it's already Keen, free of charge, and it's a plus 5 weapon, so again, free of charge. So it's the best swinging weapon, the best damaging weapon, the best crit range weapon that I can give you. So that's nice. So if he's going to fucking hit something and fucking hit it with a nice crit, this is going to be the weapon he's probably going to do it with. Then for the last named Falchion, we have this one here called the Tormentor. It's again the normal crit range. It's a plus 5 weapon, so again, a Keen spell or having improved critical for Falchiones would be useful, sure. But notice this part. For every hit and subsequent hit after that, it's a stacking penalty on the target's saving throws, -1. But an additional stacking -2 penalty to saving throws against curses. Curses are spells that he could have grabbed. He could have grabbed Bestow Curse, and I think there's 1 or 2 other spells that are on his list that are quote-unquote curses. So he could have done that, and it may sound like a terrible idea, and it almost kind of is, because while this is nice damage, if you're fighting a bad guy that's that tough that you really need the spells, you know, the DC checks to land on them to kill them outright, then you're probably doing something wrong, because he's hitting like a brick shithouse. I mean, it seems weird. But I know that for a fact that there's bad guys that are just some tough sons of bitches. And again, this damage, while looking impressive now, they're going to resist a lot of it. So he's wailing and wailing and wailing on them. Every time he hits them, -1, -1, -1 to their saving throws. Just stacks from there, helps the team out, whether it's him capitalizing on it with his spells or teammates capitalizing on it with their spells, whatever. Still, you'll see the effect is the point. And again, give the curses then to like someone like Octavia that can really capitalize on that shit. As far as down here, you'd probably best, just like with her, getting the Meta Magic rods, the named ones. So again, like the Grand Master's Meta Magic rod, the Rod of Flaming Vengeance, the Rod of Power Source, the Rod of Undeath, and the Rod of Fear, or Fearless, something like that, are good rods to have. It'll allow him to maximize and power and intensify and so on and so forth, all this other fucking shit that he does. So it'll be fun. Like I said, it'll be a fun build. And again, just to re-emphasize, while we can claw shit left and right, I'm just going to take this one off and point out the fact that, you know, we can do stuff like give him the Dragon's Axe. Remember the great axes that allow him to turn into a fucking green dragon? Dragonkind 3, this is the best dragon that you have. Or Dragonkind spell that we have, I should say. I could do that. I could give him the belt that turns it into a black dragon. I could give him the... what the hell is it? It was a scimitar, I believe. Yeah, like divine power. And again, a spell you don't really think about for, you know, quote unquote strength, because it doesn't give you strength. It gives you like a fucking nice bump though to your attack bonus and your damage bonus for a short period of time. So again, divine power is a nice spell. Righteous Might's a nice spell. Legendary Proportions a nice spell. So any of that gear, whether it's coming from a weapon or coming from gear itself, is stuff to look into. So if we're talking about the best, though, Righteous Might, there's another one. Yeah, right there, Eagle Soul. Yeah. So there's a weapon called Eagle Soul. Or Eagle Soul. A weapon that gives you the ability to cast a spell called Eagle Soul. And that one is literally a great axe. Let's see if I can find it. Go by weight. There we go. So Dragon's Essence, Frost Touch, Lava Forge, no. Retribution. This guy here. Nice weapon, clearly good damage. I mean, he clearly likes the weapon. But notice this part here, the ability to cast Eagle Soul once a day as a 14th level cleric. That's only 14 rounds. Having said that, though, that's a +4 sacred bonus to his strength. So now if we go by what we have for strength right now, let's just attack something.
Knowledge is the key to victory.
Where are you, sacred? Here we go. Let's gift ourselves a nice troll to beat on. So we do spawn units. Let's actually make a lesser troll than the one we've been fighting. Let's get level 13 guy. That's good enough. We want to see if I can show you something else. Nope, still gonna let them go first, huh? You pricks. Well, they surprised us no less. Okay. Let her skip her turn. Again, our ring is kicking in and lessening the damage. 19 to 17, guaranteed -2 to the damage incoming, the physical attacks. It's not amazing, but again, we have yet to buff up like we probably should have. However, I want to attack and show you what kind of attacks I have. Notice I'm raging, which means I'm going to have a +6 to my strength because of that. That last attack being my Dragon Bite. See where it says Dragon Bite? Again, flat-footed, strength-based, my full base attack bonus, but it's a secondary weapon. So again, multi-attack isn't working for that, but it would work if I went in dragon form. Okay, but just to show you, his strength right now is rocking a 50. 6 from that, 8 from there. Can't get you any better than that. I mean, this +6 could go to a +8, but then I'm losing out on this 4. So again, the Dragon Disciple dip was necessary. The inherent's there, sure. Eagle Soul +4. The thing that's missing is I'm missing a size bonus. And that could be a 2, 4, or 6. 2 would be Enlarged Person. 4 would be from Righteous Might. Or 6 would be Legendary Proportions. That's a spell that she gets from a belt that she has, for example. And he does have Enlarged Person. And again, she had a piece of gear that gave Righteous Might. So again, there's a variety of ways for him to get 2, 4, or 6 to his size bonus of strength. The other thing that's missing is a polymorph bonus. Remember, we can get that by turning into our dragon form. Notice, polymorph +6. That's because it's Dragonkind 2. There's a polymorph +8 for strength if he would go, say, like what she has with her cloak, or she turns into the Earth Elemental. That's a +8. If either of them takes the Dragonkind 3 gear, that's a great axe that can turn you into a green dragon, or the belt that can turn you into a black dragon, Dragonkind 3, you'd polymorph and it'd be a +10. So again, just to reiterate what values I can expect from him, best case scenario, go 4 higher for this. We're at 56 to take that to 60. That's fine the way it is. That's fine the way it is. Still fine. That 4 is fine. We're missing size +6, so we could get to 66-ish range for strength on this guy. And remember, while she capitalizes on all that beautiful, beautiful blood rage and damage, remember she gets attack bonus and damage bonus when she blood rages, and I don't. I get strength, dex, or con. Well, remember that gear that I said that I could rage as a barbarian with? That's the same general principle here. Watch this. This guy here, now I'm raging again, and both rages are going, because this is the controlled blood rage, which can happen, and this is the regular rage, which can apparently also happen. So now watch me attack this motherfucker. Well, of course, he had this guy. There we go. Soften him. Smack him around. Oh yeah, I like that, bitch. Okay, so now let's take a look at those attacks, okay? So first off, with a bite attack, we started off, nice solid attack bonus. Strength is fucking huge. Size penalty, fine. -5 from power attack of Blade Tutors, neutering most of that. And then, of course, rage +3. That's coming from this rage here. So again, I'm at +3, not at +2. She would be using the same gear. She'd be at a +4 with hers. But she can't have rage and her rage, blood rage, stack at the same time, I don't think. So again, she would have been screwed out of this +3. She'd just be using her innate +4. So I'm actually getting that, which is not bad. Now, it's not perfect, it's not forever, but while this is only 8 rounds, this here does the same thing, and it's a solid 2 minutes. And you summon 2 pets as well, so I could have totally have done that and just had some serious fun. But everybody's going to be different on that. I wanted to show you the hits, though, for the attacks, because, again, you're looking for the penalty, the -5, not the power attack, but again, for the offhand attack. So this one here is normal. Where's our next one? Normal. And there we go. Secondary from the wing hit. See how it's -5, but see the multi-attack +3 kick in? That's why multi-attack works here. Okay, it's lessening this to a -2, which is what it's supposed to do. So again, just more likely that I hit with those extra attacks. Now again, I have 6 attacks. Is that amazing? Sure. But again, would you rather have 4 attacks with a 2-handed weapon that does 1.5 times the damage for your strength modifier, and another 1.5 times the damage that you're getting from power attack? So instead of -5 +10, if he was wielding a 2-handed weapon, it'd be -5 +15. That's an extra 5 points of damage per swing. Same with up here, this 23. Well, it probably wouldn't be 23 because it wouldn't be polymorph, but again, it'd be, let's just say 20. The 20 or so that he could have up here would be 30 extra damage for a 2-handed weapon swing. So again, he would be adding another 15 damage times 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks potentially. So some serious fun that you can have there is my point. Notice, let's actually change back. I have to wait till my next turn for it to happen. Okay, notice, what's still letting me keep my wings? Oh, no way. That's not right. Or did I buff up with, like, No, it's letting me keep it. Oh, that's so fucking cool. Oh, good news then. Oh, I just changed form. Sorry. There we go. I shut off the wrong thing. I was about to say, I'm not blood raging. I actually was. I just turned off the dragon form. My wings I expected to fall off because I'm just raging with the gear. Remember, that rage is not the same. See how the wings just fell off? Now I'm back to normal. How do I know this? Because I can't do my dragon's breath. Dragon's breath works when you're blood raging. Okay, so if I literally do that, see how it lights back up again? And again, it's a solid attack. 20d6, and again, it's not capped by your dragon disciple split. So it has nothing to do with caster level. It has to do with your draconic level, which is in our case 20. So again, we get the full 20d6. That's not bad damage, especially for AoE damage. But again, he's not my favorite. It's not. Why the hell am I healing? Why am I healing? What the hell do you got? That's. Oh, is it this? Oh yeah, I forgot Eagle Soul allows you to regenerate. Fast healing too. Any critical threat made against an evil creature with this weapon is automatically confirmed critical hits. That's nice. That's again another reason I'd switch like to Falchiones. With Eagle Soul activated on you, you have that high crit range. Remember, when you crit, there's two rolls. There's the roll to hit them. Yes, it was within the crit range. So you have the potential to crit. You hit the guy. Now you need to see if you would have crit the guy. So you re-roll again, and if you re-roll and still hit them on the second hit, then it's a crit. So this one confirms that critical threat, which means that that 15 to 20 range that we have is a wide open window of crit potential there. So again, Eagle Soul would be a really nice way for you to like buff up for like some uber damage. Again, not an amazing build. I like him. He's not better than her, I don't think. He's fun, sure, and I would have fun playing the guy on the team, but he wouldn't be my go-to. Let's just say it that way. Like I said, if I were to make it a serious urban blood rager, I'd probably want to go dex-based. I'd probably want to be a weapon finesser. I could seriously have some fun with that. You could have a lot of fun with like rapiers. Go heavy on the dex-based build, like I said, with a dex charisma-based person like a halfling. And let's just say it, a little bitty halfling that's fucking screaming bloody murder at you while casting spells and just being a general badass and getting access to like 5 different fucking spells here that they normally wouldn't have access to, can open up a can of fun. You'd blood rage like no one's business. You'd have really good dexterity. You never have to worry about being flat-footed or flanked again. So again, there's a lot of potential there for like not even wearing armor. You could be wearing like robes and shit that would like add extra damage to your damaging spells or some shit like that. You can wear braces of armor class +8 to have some fun. So you still have armor on. When you change shape, like if you were to turn into a dragon or a Smilodon or whatever the fuck you turn into, your armor normally falls off, which is a problem for him because his armor is currently giving him +4 to his constitution. So this would actually go down 4 points when I switch to dragon form, if not for the fact that the dragon form actually gave me 4 more con points back. So I go down 4 and I go back up 4. So it's a net 0. There's no loss, no gain. It's kind of a shame. But if I were to do that, like I said, I like Korghast Shackle Fury. It's nice. It's not necessary for this build. It's just an interesting way of looking at things if you have subpar gear. But clearly, if a character like this, I'd probably want to max out his strength. So 8 strength, 8 dex, 8 con from the belt of physical perfection would be kind of key. Then the reason for that is not really the dex. It's more about the strength and the con. Remember, having high strength means I don't have to have the Star Soldier's Gauntlets. Not that that's a problem. But there's other shit that I could put here for gloves. There's a lot of different things you can get in the glove category that's awesome. If that's still not your thing, feel free to keep these gloves and get yourself the Belt of Athak, which is what she has. That's the one that's +4 to strength, dex, and con. And while that don't sound impressive, and certainly she has better gear than that, he doesn't. He has an 8 for strength, no bonuses to dexterity, not counting, of course, his ring. And the only bonus he has to con is the ring. Again, he was always going to have that, and his armor, which can fall off the moment he changes into another form. So if he has the Belt of Athak on, at least his con will stay at that +4. And when he changes into dragon form, he'll get even more con, which means more fortitude and more temp HP. Well, not temp, but you get the idea. More HP. And again, definitely a cool build. The real concern for me on him is the fact that we didn't get our tireless raging ability, where we don't fatigue once we get out of rage or get out of combat, because that's going to screw you. Because literally you have to wait a minute before he's back in rare form again. It's not that he's going to be sucky when he's fatigued like that. So you can go from room to room. Once it finally wears off, you'll know it, and you'll be like, I can rage again, charge, and go back into battle. But he misses out on so much damage potential when he's not raging, which, you know, that's typical for a barbarian type. With that, though, that's everything I wanted to say about him. Sorry for the video being a little shorter than the others. That's a joke. Just kidding. It's still long. But I would go farther in depth with this guy, but there's just really not much to him. You know, again, it could be fun, could be interesting, but it's really not as interesting as I thought he was going to be, which is a damn shame. There's definitely some fun to be had here, but I would rather play let's just say I'd rather play a Magus, honestly. I'd rather play an Eldritch Scion that was a Draconic Bloodline that went Dragon Disciple than I'd play this guy. And I would do my 10-10 split. Because again, I'd have some super fun going all kinds of dragon form on that one, because they get access to Dragonkind too as a spell-like ability a day, which is fucking baller. So again, everybody's different on this shit. But with that, my name is Brother Mutant. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you think about this build, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.